So, the first question is, let me see that one. Yeah, okay. How does the curriculum director maintain an integrated curriculum, both horizontally and vertically aligned, that engages all students in rigorous, relevant academic challenges?
This year we've had a struggle because we have adopted a new reading series. So this year we've struggled a little bit with our vertical planning, meaning we have gotten to see vertically these students coming to the grade level, first coming to second, seeing some gaps they're having. This program has pointed out gaps. So we've been able to tie down some time for our teachers to meet, vertically plan. So we've had our second grade tell our first grade teachers, this is what we're seeing that they're missing. We've also had them express their concerns with the rigor, meaning they're coming from first grade using one set of assessments that are not with our programs when they come to second grade, and they are using those assessments. So we are seeing a lack of rigor when it comes to assessments. So this year we've been able, our new Open Court series has pointed out to us the need for our teachers to vertically talk about what their students are lacking when they're going to the next grade level and what they're wanting help with to be better supported. We try to do that. We do that horizontally well because we have grade level meetings bi-weekly. So we are talking constantly in our grade level meetings. Our admin, they do that at the school. But we have found vertically we need to strengthen. So this year we've made a bigger push trying to make sure that we have our kindergarten and first collaborating, our second and first, and then also third and second collaborating vertically.
Okay, that sounds good. How does the director lead and motivate teachers to adhere to the prescribed state standards? That's the first part of that question.
Okay, so in my position, not being on campus, I am tasked to make sure that we have the local reading specialist and admin on campus to make sure that teachers are well aware of their standards, and that every time there's questions that arise about the curriculum, that we are driving them back to the standard and making sure they know the standard is what you teach. We ask them to make sure it's put in lesson plans so we can easily go in and see where the standard is listed. And this year we have put in pacing guides implemented, that it's easy to look at the guide and see what the skill is, and then you can go find the standard.
Yeah, the teachers mentioned that when I interviewed them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me write that. And the second part of that question is, what are the teachers' perception of both curriculum director and administrators working toward common goals?
I think this year's just a struggle in general because it's a new curriculum. So I think there's some frustrations that might be a little bit higher than normal because our teachers are not familiar with this curriculum. So we're depending a lot on our reading specialists to go in and kind of ease any concerns. Also the administrators trying to partner with them to make sure that they know the concerns and they can get them the resources they need. When I'm not at the campus, I don't know all of the needs that come about, but I do have to depend on the administrator to let me know, and then we can provide the PD. So I think the perception would be, I mean, they know that I am here as a need for them. Any curriculum need they have, also their administrator, but I think they know they go to their administrator, they come to me, and we're there for them to work towards any goal they're needing, and we're all working towards the same goal. So I think their perception, they have a good perception of myself and the administrator working together to make sure our students are successful.
Okay. Are teachers involved in any curriculum decisions or feedback?
At the end of last year, when we were going to adopt a new curriculum, we did send out a Google form to our teachers because we had two curriculums we were looking at. So we did ask the teachers what their opinion of both of the curriculums were, and they were able to share their thoughts and concerns. And then also with our local reading specialist making the pacing guide, they're able to be at the campus and hear feedback from that pacing guide about the curriculum. So they do get a say-so. Their concerns are heard, their opinions are heard, so they are involved in the process.
The teachers mentioned that they went somewhere, a different school,
Piedmont.
got to look at a different curriculum.
Mhm. Oh, a different curriculum. So Piedmont, our neighboring school, they had the same, and then we ended up going, I forget the name that they went to that school that had a different curriculum, because we had two options to choose from. And we did want to send some to see this curriculum and some to see the other one.
They
So,
said they didn't like
No.
that one.
No.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's frustrations with the one that we chose, but I think that's going to happen with any program.
Until you get used to it.
Absolutely.
Okay, how does the director assess instructional programs, activities, and materials?
Let me think about that one. Assessing the instructional program. Me not being at the school level, it's hard. We make sure that the instructional coach, teachers are using the curriculum that we adopt, has assessments that come along with it. So I'm wondering if that means assess instructional programs, meaning the curriculum and the assessments that go with that. How do we see if it is working? Is that kind of how that question is posed,
Yeah,
I guess?
I think so.
Okay. Our schools, they have monthly RTI meetings, and in that RTI meeting, they're looking at a plethora of data. So there are times where I like to pop in and kind of watch some of those meetings and hear some of the concerns and look at the school data with all 5 schools that we have. Hear about any weekly assessments they're giving. Before we adopted this new program, with the previous program, doing the same thing. Just kind of listening to the teachers come in and talk about the program that they're using. And also looking at the data with the local reading specialist and the admin. It's kind of that gives me a broader picture to know, is this program that we've adopted, is it working?
Okay. How do you as the director use diagnostic tools to assess, identify, and support instructional improvement? And are the administrators or teachers involved?
That's kind of the same thing to that question you just asked. Thinking about that, I have to depend a lot on administrators and teachers on campus. And the way that I'm going to be familiar is going to the campus and finding out, digging into the data, seeing, okay, is this curriculum meeting our needs? Especially with the literacy law that we have. Is the curriculum teaching, is it aligned with our new Alabama Course of Study ELA standards like they promised? Are we teaching those standards successfully to make sure that we have a small amount of students who are being retained due to the literacy law? But being at that school and sitting in with those administrators and instructional coach to review the data, that's how I'm going to get a bigger picture of the curriculum. And seeing, is it working? Is it what we need? Is it giving us enough information so we can make informed decisions?
Okay. How has the infusion of technology into classrooms impacted the curriculum in your classroom, school, or district? I know we're not doing virtual right now, but how did it impact when we were doing virtual?
When we were doing virtual, I think the school system as a whole suffered because you can't replace having students in the building, or you cannot replace having a teacher standing up and teaching the curriculum. I know a lot of the teachers were able to video themselves and use some programs that we have to send out themselves teaching the lesson, but I think it just suffered as a whole. The curriculum is meant to be taught by person, in person, and I think that looking at the data throughout those COVID years, it's not going to be as strong, and it was not as strong as when we were in person and we were in the classroom with the teacher teaching that. You just lose a lot of depth to the curriculum that you're teaching, hands-on activities that you can do, just moment to moment, moments that you can teach the kids. You lose all of that when you're virtual. Technology, we use it in the classrooms now through our curriculum that we have. We're able to assess online to help prepare these students for ACAP, because in 2nd and 3rd grade, they are taking the ACAP online. So we are able to use our curriculum that we've adopted, partners with online program so we can assign these tests online. They can get used to using the computer to test, use the same kind of tools that they see on ACAP. So that is one good piece of technology that we can utilize with our new program. But COVID definitely, those virtual years definitely impacted our delivery and our data.
Okay. What is your opinion on, what do you think the greatest difficulties of the position and the factors that interfere with achieving goals and objectives are?
One of the greatest difficulties that I see with my position is a lot of times teachers might think that I am too far removed from the classroom and actually teaching the curriculum. Sometimes you might hear that just because I'm not within those four walls every day with them teaching it. But on the flip side of that, they know where they can find support, and if they have questions, where they can get those answers. But sometimes being in an office, being at the central office, is a little difficult for teachers to understand that I'm with them. We are in this together, but sometimes they do like to forget that. That is a difficult part of this position, I think.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's all I have. So, but I really appreciate you interviewing us.
You're
today.
welcome. You're very
Awesome.
welcome.
Okay. Let me stop this.